Sorry about the few minutes late there. I was scrambling here a little bit. I decided to change up our webinar a little bit tonight, so you're in for a lot of stuff here. So um, we were originally just going to do kind of an open house wrap-up webinar tonight, since tomorrow is the last day of free access. Free access ends tomorrow night at midnight on the 13th for free access. And then, as you know, the prices go up at midnight on the 18th, and to get grandfathered in for that. But I decided to do a little bit more here. Let me just kind of review with you here. I combined a few webinars here. I decided to get a bunch of stuff to you tonight. If you had been looking at the, let's see here, at the webinar calendar, you saw that tonight we had the open house wrap up, and then tomorrow I was going to do like an ultimate power play performance review, and then Thursday afternoon we're going to do a sneak peek at some upcoming systems. I feel like I've just been way overloading you guys on some webinars, and I wanted to give you a lot of this stuff tonight. So we're going to go over a wrap up tonight. We're going to do a quick power play performance review, and I'm honestly going to spend a good part of this webinar showing you a sneak peek at some upcoming stuff. Okay. And then we've got some other webinars still spread in there, still doing the mentorship kickoff sign up on Friday. But I wanted to just get you everything tonight. I want to get you all this info. I'm going to kind of overload you, but also I'm freeing up a little space here. Be on the lookout. We will announce that you may see an announcement for another webinar that goes in the next couple days. We might even possibly do one on Saturday. Keep in mind, these couple here on Saturday are pre-recorded. You can watch those anytime. We might do one for you on sometime the next couple days, or possibly Saturday, with a couple of new releases. Okay, so I'm not promising, but I'm going to try to get a couple new things out to you this week. And I'll tell you a little bit about them here. So just going to kind of give you everything tonight, and I'm just going to jump in here. All right. So I'm not going to really be answering a lot of questions as we go through, because I'll answer questions at the end. I'm not ignoring you. I just want to keep us on track and not make this recording too long. So if I'm skipping your question, I'm not ignoring you. We're just going to jump through here. Okay. So let's talk about some cool new releases. Okay, I've told you all along here that for open house, we had you focus on power plays and on Cs, okay, because those were our most powerful systems. Those are the systems that we have recently redone. Apex has a ton of systems. All right, there's a lot more to Apex than just Cs and power plays. Some of these are great systems, but some of them are older systems that we had, before we came out with VAD, or before we came out with oscillation detector, or even before order prints, okay? And so some of those systems, even though they were great and indicator based, they didn't have the power of reading the markets like we've talked a lot about lately, right? We've talked about the ABCs and about the 1, 2, 3s and being able to read the markets when it comes to levels and chop and volume accumulation and looking for divergences and using order prints to see inside of the bars. And I've asked you this on other webinars. I've asked you, hey, think back to other Apex things you've traded, or think back to any other system you've ever traded with any indicator or any chart, and think about the success you had with them. And then think about how much more successful you could have been if you knew then what you know now after the 30 days of open house. If you knew then about what you know now about reading the markets and using VAD and using levels and using chop and using order prints, how much of a difference would it have made to you in those systems you traded, right? So that's exactly what we're doing with some of these other Apex systems, all right? Because we know that utilizing those things can help keep you out of bad trades and give you the best of the best. And we've talked a lot about just trailing stops, right? How many examples have I showed you over these last few webinars about, okay, when I get up to this level and I see this happening in order prints, am I leaving my stop 15, 20 ticks away, or am I tightening it up? I don't want to give an extra 10 or 15 ticks away if I don't have to, right? So just keeping yourself out of some bad trades, or keeping yourself keeping an extra 10 or 15 ticks on all the good trades, that adds up super quick, right? So that is what we're doing with all of these old systems and all these other systems that we've got. And I'm just going to kind of do a quick jet tour through you. I'm not going to go through and answer questions on each one and teach you these systems, okay? I'm just going to kind of show you a jet tour of some of these older and other Apex systems that are in the process of being revamped. And I'm going to show you a few other things that we're testing right now, and just kind of some cool what's going on in the background, what's coming up, okay? Now, there's a lot of, even right now, there's a lot of things in Apex that you probably haven't even seen, not just these other systems, but also some of the other indicators. Most of you are familiar with continuum bars. I taught them in the very beginning and showed you all the different settings and how we can use some of those, like for chop, right? Well, we also have certain systems that, are in the process of being revamped and redone that work off of continuum bars as well. And there's all kind of different settings. This particular setting you see here is an 8, 10, 5 minute. So the market goes up, 8 ticks, it'll make a new up close bar. If it goes down ticks, it'll be a down close bar. Or if that doesn't happen within 5 minutes, it just makes a new bar, right? This is an indicator that most of you have probably not seen. It's called our bar trend chop filter. Do you notice anything that doesn't quite make sense about some of these bars? Do you see, up close bars that are painted red? Do you see down close bars that are painted green? That doesn't make sense, right? You think up close is green, down close is red. Well, the bar trend chop filter indicator from Apex, it's a special algorithm that's determines, helps determine chop. And when there's chop, you see how it kind of goes into this orangish color, right? Or when it's determined that it's a downtrend, well, it paints the bars, paints the bars red. And even though the market may start to turn around and have up close bars, until that algorithm flips, it won't start painting green. Okay, makes sense? Paints the bars the color of the trend or the chop, according to that particular algorithm. Make sense? That may be an indicator you guys haven't seen yet. What about the Apex trend bands? It measures the trend a little bit differently than some of our other indicators do. And it actually makes a band, all right? And it's either when it crosses over a green band or a red band. All right, some of you haven't seen that indicator. What about the Apex trend flip indicator? Simple enough, right? Red and green with the trend. Now, all of these indicators that I'm showing you here are trend-based indicators, but they're all a little bit different. Okay, they're not just the same exact indicator duplicated. There's different things and different algorithms and different math behind them about what it measures to determine those trends. Okay. What about our trendar indicator on the bottom here? Again, same thing, showing, up or down. It's a different way to measure the trend. So just those few indicators there, for example, some of them are short-term indicators, some of them are longer-term indicators, some are looking at certain highs and lows or crossing indicators, they're looking back X number of bars. They're all made a little different, right? You guys are already familiar with the trend catcher indicator. That's also a trend indicator, right? You learned about that in C's, where you've got the different arrows and the different lines, okay? You are also already familiar with the what? With MVP, right? You've got MVP right on your power play chart, don't you? These green triangles here or the red triangles here, right? And as you've noticed, they don't flip right away on the first bar of a new trend. They take a little longer. So there's short-term, long-term, there's all kind of different combinations there, okay, in some of these indicators. Now, when you combine them all, there's a couple things that we can look at, all right? This is an example of one of our other systems called Alchemy, all right? And Alchemy takes into account multiple of these different indicators. Also takes into account, see this line here? Some of you are wondering, what is that line? Well, that's the Apex volatile trend line, okay? And notice it goes from red to green. It's a volatile trend line, okay? Sometimes it'll switch over smoothly. Sometimes it'll do these jagged little V's. You see those jagged V's right there or that V right here. You see those? And this is an older system we have that what we're looking for is basically when the volatile trend line makes an X or crosses through the trend flip. Remember this one? Trend flip. Okay. So when that volatile trend line is crossing through the trend flip, also what flipped here? The MVPs. Also, what does the trend R show? Green. Also, what's the color of the bars? Right? The green with the chop trend. It's basically taken into account all of those different indicators at once, where you're looking at the short term, the longer term, the crossing, the high, all the different types of indicators. When they're all together as go, then go. Okay. Now, well, what do we know can happen when just indicators do something without us looking at levels and chop and order prints and volume? Well, sometimes you can get too many signals, right? Now, it definitely cuts down on getting too many wrong signals when you're utilizing these multiple different indicators, right? But can you imagine the power of something that simple, but if we combined it with the 4 fundamentals of order prints? Levels, chop, VAD divergence or oscillation detector, and order prints or clusters, right? So that's one of the systems. Okay, same type of situation there, right? Where the red crosses, you know, the volatile trend line crosses the trend flip, the MVP is flipped, this is red. Everything's pointing to go south, but you're, you know, combining all of them together. And there's a perfect example of like the V bounce, okay, that I showed you on the volatile trend line. Okay, so that's called alchemy, right? And we've had 2 versions of alchemy. We have one with continuum bars. We have 2.0 with diagnostic bars. This is one of the systems we're going to be revamping and adding in some of these things you've learned with VAD and order prints and the oscillation detector, just like the ultimate power play rules. Okay, some of these systems I'm showing you may end up getting renamed. You know, they may end up getting combined with some other systems and other indicators. But we're going back through all of these systems here and comparing them, testing them, figuring out new rules, seeing do we need all these? Can we combine certain things? What do we need? Okay, so that's something that there is in the works. IZSS, okay, some of you have heard that term. What is IZSS? Well, it's being revamped the same way. And again, it might get renamed as well. But what are institutional zones? Well, we call them I zones, hence the I zone sharpshooter. Like, have you heard that big money moves the market? You know, like the big institutions, the big banks, and you feel like I always get in late. I buy at the highs and I sell at the lows. I get in too late. Well, we address a lot of that in the power play system, don't we? But identifying those proper setups, identifying when the market is exhausted and a cluster comes and we can turn around and get in at the very, you know, top of those moves as well. Okay, so a lot of these things are already addressed in the power plays, but we're re-looking at some of these systems, and they're very simple. These I zones are plotted on the chart just like you see here. This level up top here is showing as a, you know, high resistance zone, an institutional zone where the market, you know, reversed before. And the same thing down here. You see that zone down there showing you're coming to a strong level. We've talked a lot about levels, right? And so kind of looking at when the market gets back up to those strong levels that it's gotten to before. We've talked about magnets and mini magnets and, you know, support and resistance. When the market gets back up to these bigger zones, you know, there's a high probability of it reversing and making a good size move. And how can we see to catch that? Okay. And, you know, historically, our IZSS system was pretty similar to what I'd shown you before. As an example, as the market comes down here and it kind of gets to one of these, you know, I zones, well, what happens? Well, we've got our trend catcher indicator that flips to green here, right? We have down here the trend R that's flipped to green. We have the trend flip that's flipped to green. And notice here we had red bars, then an orange bar, and then the bar went to green, the chop filter. Everything's confirming that, hey, at that level, everything is flipping around and showing short term, longer term, and take the trend up. Okay. Same thing there. I mean, look what can happen sometimes. Things can flip too easy, right? But if we can go back through and revamp this system, for example, and add in certain things like, hey, what do we have here? Chop. Hey, if we had order prints here, what was that showing us? What other levels were there? What was VAD showing? Adding some of those all in together to not completely just depend on indicators, even though these systems were very cool with combining multiple types of indicators, shorter term and longer term, combining the levels. I mean, because we know levels are powerful, right? The system already had that. But being able to combine the levels, the multiple different indicators that measure different things, but in addition to and after reading the market and reading order prints. Just telling us some more things. Talked to you a lot about how Apex were all about trying to give different tools and different ways to read the market and see what's going on, right? Doesn't always mean that one system's better than another or another indicator better than another. We want to give multiple ways to read the market. We've talked so much about that. It's not about following the guru. It's about teaching you to become a guru, right? Teaching you to read the market. So that's our IZSS system that's being revamped as well, okay? Another, right here, coming off the red eye zone, everything, we got the trend catcher arrows, everything's turning red, we take it down. Coming off the green one, we take it up, right? So very simple. These are some of the things that, some of the other systems of Apex that you may not be familiar with. These are some of the things that we are revamping. All right, with IZSS, we also had some easy little swing trade scalps, right? Market comes down, pulls back up, breaks that swing point, and take a little scalp. Breaks a little swing point again right there, you take a little scalp, okay? Comes down here, pulls back up. When it breaks a little swing point, you take a little scalp. Pulls back up, take a little scalp. Y'all are familiar with swing levels and swing trades, right? But we've got some trend trades there. We've got some little swing trading scalps. We even have a chop trade that's designed in IZSS, right? Of how to actually trade chop. When eye zones are really close together and they're straddling an ice level or a deviation level, what do you expect to happen? Kind of up and down, right? You guys have seen that. I'm not talking about coil chop. I'm talking about tight chop, where it's just a few bars and being able to scalp some little 10 ticks back and forth during chop while you're waiting on the chop breakout to take a number 4 kind of play. Yeah, you're scalping range bound there, okay? So all this stuff is being revamped. You guys are already somewhat familiar with the Apex pattern, right? The A, P, E, and X, because we've talked about them a little bit on the C system, okay? Well, there's a whole other separate system that's just centered around the Apex pattern, okay? That's being revamped as well. And in a nutshell, the original system was, taking the A, P, and E's, entering on the E's, but only when the MVP lines up. And when the MVP lines up as an extra confirmation of that trend direction, then you take that E, and you take that E, and that E. And then when it's the other way, you take those E's, right? So when it's lining up with the MVP. So it's not just about taking every E and just a standalone indicator. It's about combining it with, the other indicator, the MVP. But also imagine if we can look at that and add to it the levels and add to it VAD to know, hey, when that trend might be ending. When is, the trend getting exhausted, okay? Or when is, hey, that might even be a really good P and E because I see hidden divergence in that trend now that we didn't see before having VAD. Or on that P and E, we've got clusters or mini magnets. There's all kind of extra stuff we can add to these systems, okay? But there's a whole separate system just based around the P and the Apex pattern along with the MVP, and taking those E's up and getting those bigger trends and reversal trades when the MVP flips and taking it down. All kind of other stuff there, okay? It's another system that's called the Triple Crown that again has a trending aspect, a scalp aspect, and a chop aspect. And Triple Crown was mainly used in everything, but a lot of Forex traders liked it because it was set up to handle certain aspects of it were set up to handle a little bit longer term type trades. you know, that might take a little bit longer and catch some of the bigger trends and kind of flow through some of the more ups and down waves of the market. You know, it was using several aspects of some of the systems I showed you all combined. All right, with market analyzers to monitor multiple markets. Some pretty cool trades there. All right, that were designed a little more, not so much, you know, the scalp. There's a scalp and a chop one, but designed more to catch some of those longer trends that you might see in Forex that could last hours or even, you know, a day or two. You know, so that's one of the ones in review as well. Now, I'm going to show you something here, and you're going to not quite recognize it, but if I go to the forum, okay, because I have different access to the forum, I have admin access to the forum. You guys are familiar with the forum, and if you go down here to S10, you're used to just seeing C's and power plays. Well, you can see in the back end all of the revamped systems being revamped. All these different systems in S10. You know, Trend Catcher and Alchemy and Sharpshooter and iZone and Profit Hunter and some of these other, you know, binary systems and 5-minute binary systems that you keep asking about that we'll be testing. You know, and you know, C's and Triple Crown. There's a lot going on in the background. There's a lot of other things being revamped and relooked. And some of you might say, well, why do we need all those? You keep telling us we got plenty of trades with power play. And you do. You got more than enough, right? But some people just personality-wise like different type of charts or different type of systems. And keep in mind, I'm not promising you that we're going to re-release every single one of these. We might combine a few of these. We might completely redo them. We might completely rename them, you know, because there's no need to have 20 different systems. Just have the best, combine the best, and get some good systems. Make sure you've got a good system for trending. Make sure you've got a good system, you know, of what to do in chop, what to do in range bound. And we've got those perfect systems already with ultimate power plays, but we're going to be revamping a couple of these other systems, combining a few. There's a lot more going on in the background and a lot of good stuff coming out your way. Okay. Let's take a look here at a couple other things. This is another thing that's kind of being beta tested right now by one of our top traders. And he's actually been trading this for a while. And it kind of takes into account, you know, see this line here, that's that volatile, it takes into account that volatile trend line again. Remember we talked about those V's on the volatile trend line? Okay, well, what do you kind of see that happens here on some of these V's, right? Okay, and it makes for some great little scalps here, right here, 39 ticks on, what was this, 6E? Guys, that was yesterday, by the way. You see that? Okay. And a great little system that we're testing there that, you know, might be released soon once all the beta testing is done. But some simple rules. It's following the, you know, the direction of the apex pattern, but trading to the P to the X, and you're looking at these V's and looking at order prints. And notice that chart up here is trading right off of order prints. Okay. But some great tests on this so far. We've got some great numbers on it as well, some great tracking being done on some of these different indices, you know, day by day, and number of trades and number of ticks and percentages of win rate. So we're testing some of these things in and out, keeping great track of them. We're only going to be releasing the best of the best. You've already got a great system. Why just send you something that's not worth your time, right? Well, we want to give you some good stuff here, and this is just looking great. Okay, so that's another great trade. And notice some of these little trades that I'm showing you too here as well, and some of these scalping trades are great trades to also add in while you're waiting between power play trades, right? Okay, you know, we've talked about that a little bit. That's why we started off with the first 4 power plays, and then what do? We added on 5 more C's trades. We added on 4 more powerful trades. Okay, what if you could add on another trade that was giving you some of those scalps there? Okay, I mean, just to give you an idea, I had this sent over this morning, and it was like on the 8-tick chart, I'm up 26 ticks by 9:45. On this one here, I'm up 36 ticks by 9:45. I mean, nice, just taking some little scalps here and there, right? Or some of them turn into some nice moves as well and trailing down. So great stuff in the works here, guys. What about the sneak peek trade I showed you the other day on the webinar? Remember that on the order prints advanced training when we were talking about, hey, watch for these fast velocity bars that happen boom, 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 or the bars that have the real, slim numbers on them. What happens oftentimes? The market pulls back, right? And pulls back to that area where the numbers started slimming or the velocity started happening. Remember we talked about those? And what do we talk about? Being able to place an order there perhaps, waiting for it to take it on down. And what kind of stop did we talk about on these type of trades, right? When the market moves fast like that and those numbers slim out and it pulls back, being able to have some little, like what, 5 tick stops, right? Remember we talked about that? Those are some cool extra trades. Again, that's another thing in the works to be released. And all of these little systems and trades I'm talking about with you here, once they're all nailed down and verified, when they're re-released, they will have step-by-step training courses, just like the Power Plays did. They'll have their own separate forum post. They'll have their own separate screenshot. They'll be just like the Power Plays. Everything laid out in a full release system, right? And you'll have other people in the rooms trading them. You'll have, when it comes to these mentor groups, you'll have these things being discussed in some of these mentor groups as well. And these are going to be great little additions. Yeah, somebody was asking me the other day about these trades. They're like, so let me get this straight. They're like, so if I could take one of these trades here with a 5 tick stop, well, on most systems I trade, and on like the Power Play, my initial stop's about 20 ticks. Yeah. They're like, so if I had enough in my account, what you're saying is, if I can do one contract on Power Plays and risk 20 ticks, I could technically do 4 contracts with this, and each one have a 5 tick stop, and I'm still only risking 20 ticks. That is correct. If you've got enough in your account, for margin to do 4 contracts. It's like, okay, so if this is a 10 tick bar, plus I've got like 5 ticks up here in the wick, that's 15 ticks I'm getting just on the 1 bar closing. That's correct. And 15 times 4 contracts is 60 ticks. So I can get 60 ticks of profit in that 1 bar. Much less another, 5, 10, 15, 20 times 4. Yeah, that could add up pretty quick, right? That's pretty nice. When you start having, trades like those touchbacks in C's, or like this trade here, when you can have something that's a 5 tick stop and you can do a couple of contracts, right? You're still risking the same 20 ticks as you would on most systems, but if you can get 15 ticks on 1 bar times 4 contracts, that's 60 ticks. At $5 a tick, that's $300 on 1 bar, right? And another 300 just on 3 more bars. It doesn't take much of a move for that to add up. Those are some great little trades. So again, another thing that's coming out or in the works, being tested. Okay. How about an order prints upgrade that could be released to you here within a matter of days, perhaps? How would you like that? Kind of a upgrade to order prints. Couple little cool things about it. It's going to have some new settings in it where you have the ability to, on paw prints, we haven't covered paw prints a whole lot. Once this new upgrade comes out, we'll talk about paw prints, where one of the settings is that we can only show paw prints on wicks, which is really where you want to be able to see them, to see weaknesses. Okay. Right now they'll plot at different levels, and it can cause paw prints to be a little confusing. It's one of the reasons I haven't really covered them much with you. but that will be something that's able to be done, is to set that to true and only have them on wicks. Okay, that's pretty cool, right? How about this? How about mini magnets? Sometimes mini magnets can be strong levels, not just for those couple hours or that day. They can be strong days back, right? And I know when we first started doing mini magnets, Lori was plotting them herself on her charts every day and had a different color of for each day, so that she could look back and know what day that level was hit. Is that a strong level? How many times has it been hit? Has it been hit over and over again and the market bouncing off of it? Maybe she wants those levels to show longer, even if they've been broken. She wants to be able to choose to save that one or have that one on there. But she also wants to know what day it was from. Okay, can you kind of see here? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. One of the new releases will have the ability to color them different colors by day. And if you want to leave them on your chart longer, you can. And you'll be able to see that those are mini magnet levels, okay, that were really strong from before, have been hit more than once, and you can leave them on there. And the different colors, you can choose what color you want by day to know that's a mini magnet from yesterday, that's a mini magnet from 2 days ago, or whatever it may be. You'll have that ability to do that, okay? What about how many of you, because there's going to be a couple of releases here, how many of you have ever thought, man, sometimes when I look at that chart, is that an X or is that a star? Because I'm really liking some of these power slings and power Ps and power play. Is that an X or is that a star? What if you have the ability to color the stars and X's differently so that you never got confused on what they were? Or make them plot a little bit further or a little bit bigger or a little bit differently? Stuff like that. Would that be a nice upgrade for you? Helpful in order prints? Just some little things like that. Some of that may not seem that big to some of you, but if you're trading it every day, those are actually some really huge things. Okay? Yeah, Randall, sometimes they cover the wick or whatever, right? So those are some of the upgrades that are going to be coming out. And one of those upgrades you might actually get here in the next few days. So again, that's something with Apex that we're always doing. Okay? I've told you before, we don't just sell you an indicator one time and you're on your own. Like, that's part of why we have a monthly membership and a monthly subscription. We are always improving. We're always coming out with more stuff. We're always upgrading. We're always building. We have, programmers on staff full time that are keep going and keep building. Okay. Johnny, you said there's something. Johnny asked a question. There's something on the calendar about VAD 2.0. Yeah, Johnny, I'm not sure what you're talking about. I'm totally kidding, Johnny. I'm going to show it to you here in like 2 minutes, okay? So some cool little upgrades on order prints, okay? That, like I said, might be coming your way here pretty soon. So I hope you can see there's a lot in the works. We're always building. We're always growing. Even during open house, we've already come out with some new stuff for you. We've released new indicators. We've added on more trades, yeah, JW says sometimes the line runs through that number. Yep, you'll be able to move all that stuff around just how you want it, JW. Okay, and that's one of the big reasons here for this upgrade that the programmer's been working on, is to fix a couple little bugs there, to fix a couple little things to make it more adjustable. And, some people add some new other things to their chart or have their own little special template. So we want to help you be able to customize it as best as you can to fit your needs and your charts, your monitor space, and all that. Okay? Cool stuff? Everybody like that? Yeah, exactly. Trading your way. Okay? Whoa. Look at that, Johnny. What's that? VAD 2.0. What is it? How is it different? What is VAD? Okay. Well, it's 5 different algorithms written by Daryl, our CEO, Daryl Martin, and it's combining trend, price action, order flow, absorption, all kind of stuff, right? I'm not going to bore you and get into all the programming algorithms, but if you go to your chart here, and if you've looked in the indicators, okay, let's see here. Notice right here it says VAD 2A and VAD 2E, okay? Well, what is that all about, okay? Well, if you've ever looked up here under mode, under parameters, see it says mode A. We all know what VAD A is, right? VAD A is what we use all the time, every day with power plays, right? We all know what VAD A is. We use it all the time, okay? How many of you have asked at some point, what is VAD E all about? I think just about every one of you, right? Who has wondered that? Who's wondered or asked? Right. Okay, so we know what VAD A is, okay? And what does VAD A do? Well, VAD A, we know, switches what? On every bar, right? If there's one up close bar, it's going to put the volume in the up close bar. If it's a down close bar, it's going to put the volume there, and it will reset, okay? Because that's giving us a view of what? Every bar and the trend, the accumulation of volume within the trend, and a reset every bar. So we can see that. So we can see in every bar, right? Well, again, if we go over here to indicators, okay, and I'm not teaching VAD 2.0 right now. I'm just showing you a quick example of it, okay? You go under mode. Oh, what's that? Well, look at that. We've got 5 different modes of VAD right now, don't we? A, B, C, D, and E. Well, they're all different modes. They're all different ways of measuring the market. They all look at different things. Remember earlier how I was showing you some of those different trend indicators we had, right? Trend flip and trend bands, and what was I telling you about those? But they're all measuring trend, but they're all a little bit different, right? How some of them are short term, some of them are long term. They're all programmed a little bit different. Certain things, you know, we've talked about indicators, and what's the thing with indicators? Well, it's just algebra, it's just math. It's this has to happen for that to happen, right? This has to happen for this to flip. And so there's just different things that have to happen in different measurements, okay? Let me just show you something real quick here. And again, we're going to do training on this in a couple weeks, so don't get too wrapped up in it, but I just want to show you real quick so you know kind of what's coming out, what's in the works, how some of this works here, because we haven't really gone over a lot of this. So I'm going to just put all 5 VADs on here just so you can see it real quick, okay? Just so you can see the difference. Come on. I got too much stuff on my my screens here. Give me a second. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to put all of them on. All right, you see the difference there? Can you see that? Like right here, as the market is starting to go up. Well, VAD A, we know, is going to flip with every bar, right? All right, VAD B flips a little later. And C and D, they all flip a little bit differently. You see that as you go back, they don't always match exactly because they're measuring different things, okay? So they're going to flip, some are going to flip quicker than others. It's just kind of like the difference of VAD A compared to oscillation detector. It measures differently, right? But it still gives you a certain view of the market, correct? And what's going on. It just measures different. Does that make sense? So VAD E, you know, through lots of testing, has kind of been one of the favorite for a lot of our for a lot of our systems, and for kind of helping to determine longer term trends. Okay, like what do we have here? Just looking at this market, what can we see? That's a downtrend, right? It's a downtrend. Market comes down, pulls up, comes down, pulls up, comes down, pulls up, down, pull. We see that, right? What did VAD A tell you this whole time? Okay, imagine a line here, and again, when VAD is above the line, it's saying up. When it's below the line, it's saying down. When it's green, it's saying up. When it's white, it's saying down. But what about when it turns like this cyan color or some other color? That's it saying, hey, I don't know, or it could be transition or a possible chop. But see how that was showing down this whole way of the trend. So it takes a few bars, for it to flip. Does that make sense? So it's just helping you see an overall direction of the market. Okay. So, again, that's what the different modes of VAD are. Okay. Now, just a real quick kind of question here. And let me just scroll back. Let me just show you a few other examples here. You see what I'm talking about? There we go. There again, another trend. What is VAD-E doing? Okay, it's just showing you the longer trend. Okay, so it's the same thing. It's a measurement of VAD, volume accumulation and distribution. It's just measuring it differently. Make sense? So VAD 2.0 is another system that we've had in the past, indicator-based, that is in the process of being revamped. Okay? But let's just think about something for a moment. If I'm looking at an overall uptrend, and VAD-E is telling me there's an overall uptrend, right? And I see the previous VAD downtrend volume was way here, and then the next time there's a push down in volume, it's way here. What do we call that technically? Divergence, right? Okay. So if the market's trending up, and VAD-E is telling us the market's trending up, and we see a divergence in VAD-A, how about here? Market's still trending up. What happened here? All right, we had that amount of push down in VAD. What was the next amount of push down in VAD we had here? Here to here, what do we call that? Divergence, right? So if we see the market's trending up, VAD-E is saying the market's trending up, but then VAD-A shows us divergence in the down pushes of the market. Would that not maybe help us think we might want to take that move up again? Or up again? Does that make sense? Imagine if you're seeing a trend in VAD-E and you're seeing divergence the opposite way from VAD-A, and it's helping you take little trades up along the way. Make sense? See that? Okay. So that is VAD 2.0, but we're going to be adding to that some other aspects of order prints and mini magnets and clusters and stuff like that. So does everybody see that in a nutshell? Kind of, what that is? I mean, like right here. So VAD was going up. You see it? This was a live trade somebody took. VAD-E was what? Going up. Well, what do we have here in VAD-A from that red to that red? Divergence, right? Next up closed bar, took it up. Okay, just be able to follow with those trends. Make sense? So once we release that system, it's going to be terrible for you because you got to have 10 other new charts and 10 other new systems and 10 other new things to be able to take those additional trades, aren't you? Oh, wait, no, it's already on my chart. And it has been from day one we gave you the chart. So just another trade to add on to what? The same exact chart. Okay? Because with power play systems, what is your trend trade? What is this right here? Anybody tell me what this right here would have been? It's pulled back, did not go as low as the last pullback, but VAD had more volume in it on a pullback, and then a bar closed up. What is that? Hidden divergence, right? Power play number 3, right? And those are great trades. We love them, don't we? But we don't really have anything with the power play system itself in order to take every little pullback trade, right? And possibly scalp them on the way up or even have it turn into a trend trade. We don't have that, right? We're looking for the big one. But if you had this, if you were utilizing this as well with the rules, could you have popped something here or popped something here or popped something here or popped something here or popped something here along the way? Even if it's just a quick scalp of 10, 10, 10, and 10. Well, that's 40 extra ticks in that trend on the same exact chart. That makes sense? You guys like that? That's pretty cool, right? Okay, so that's what VAD 2.0 is all about. Okay, and again, it's already on your chart. And we've got a webinar coming out on that here in just a couple weeks. So, and that's a very simple trade. It's just the direction of mode E, looking for divergence on mode A, and we enter 3 ticks later, but that was the old rules. There's going to be new rules added to it utilizing order prints to help give you what? The better ones. Let me ask you this. If you saw this happen right here, okay, and VAD-E is showing long, this volume is not as much as this volume, there's divergence, so I'll take that up. Okay, cool, right? But what if that bar closing up right there had a cluster in it? Would you feel even better about taking that up for a scalp or a little trade? What if there was a line right here at the bottom of this wick? What would we call that line? Mini magnet? Would you feel even better about that? As an additional trade to all the trades you already have, VAD-E confirms that direction. You can see that direction. VAD-A confirms divergence. You got an up-close bar with a mini magnet or a cluster. How do you feel about trying to get 10 ticks out of that or maybe more? Again, on the same chart you're already using. Pretty sweet. Okay? Yeah. Catch some of those in between your other trades. Just boom, boom, boom. That's what it's all about. Okay? So, very simple. That's what we'll be going over. Now that you know a little bit about VAD-E, and if you're on Lori's THT in the room this afternoon, you've already heard a little bit about this. But how can VAD-E help you confirm some power play setups? Again, it's already on your chart. Okay? Let's just take a peek. I'm going to go back here. Let me ask you a question. What is VAD-E telling us right here? That the market is trending, right? What is VAD-E telling you right here? That the market is trending. Right here, the market pushes up, and VAD comes to where? Right here. It has one bar down, and then it goes up a little higher on what? Less volume. When you see a little higher on less volume, you automatically always think what? Power play 1. But what is the biggest thing that was told to you in training? There's actually a whole forum section on it, or forum example on it, saying, be careful, do not fall in this trap. Is this a trending market? Okay, let's back up. Is this a choppy market? No. Is this a barely trending range-bound market, or is this a trend? It's a trend, right? It's a trending market. Remember the whole section here up under power play number 1. And I know this is one of the biggest misconceptions and biggest questions that we get about power plays. Remember when we're taught power plays, slightly trending or ranging market. Does that look slightly trending to you, or is that a good trend? That's a good trend. That's not range bound, that's not slightly trending. Yep, Randall, full on trend. Okay. What was this right here? Do not fall into this trap where it's a trend with just little pullbacks, and you compare this long push down in VAD to just a few bars push down in VAD and say, oh, further on lower volume. Remember this? Remember how we talked about this in training? Remember how I'm sure almost every one of you have asked 10 or 20 questions on this, right? Or posted a chart saying, is this a number one or is this a trend? Like, I'm not sure. Okay? Let me ask you this. In this trend here, did VAD-E stay the same or did it flip? In this trend here, with the pullbacks, did VAD-E stay the same or did it flip? Or did it ever, see right here, it flipped color, but notice it didn't go from, up or down. It went into chop mode or like a, hey, wait a minute, it might be about to flip. Nope. Okay. So if you're ever wondering, hey, I'm not sure about this trade. Now, I'm not telling you, I'm not adding a rule. I'm not adding a rule to power play. Okay? I'm going to say it one more time. I'm not adding a new rule to the power play rules. I'm showing you how to utilize VAD-E to help you when you're not sure. Okay? Like this day, like, okay, I'm sure that's a trend. Sometimes there's those days where you're like, well, it started to break up a little bit, and we kind of started to have some weight. I think that should be a 1, but I'm not sure. Well, if VAD-E never broke or never flipped or never went into I don't know mode either, then what do you think? Nope, maybe I should stay out. Does that make sense? If I'm not sure, but VAD-E was pretty sure, maybe I should just stay out. So it's not a new rule. I'm not telling you to look at VAD-E on every single one and VAD-E has to line up. I'm saying when you're not quite sure, you can reference VAD-E. Let's look at some examples. Okay, so right here, so take a look here. See how VAD-E, see the difference of right here in this down move compared to up here in this up move. Okay, did VAD-E flip here or go into cyan mode? No, but here it did a few times, right? So here we're not looking for HD because VAD-E has switched several times. When are we looking for HD? See, like right here, you might think, okay, the market came down and then it pulled up and then it came down and then it pulled up. Oh, and look, when it pulled up, it had more volume in it. Oh, so that's an HD trade, right? That's what you might think. Do you see that? Market came down, pulled up, down, pulled up. Oh, on this pull up, it had more volume in VAD. So that's HD, and that's a trend. Well, bad E is showing you what? Green, and then I don't know, and then white, and then I don't know. Maybe I don't want to go HD right there. And I'm probably glad I didn't, because I just got a few ticks out of it and reversed. Does that make sense? So in that example there, it can help you to what? Should I look at this as HD or not? Right? Okay. What about here? The market comes up, pulls back, comes up a little higher on what? Less VAD. Ooh, is that a number one? Well, this has remained constant, right? I mean, technically, yeah, you can kind of compare this to this, but what are you looking at there? As of right here live, you don't really know if that's a new trend with a pullback and a new trend and a pullback and a new, right? But VAD-E shows trend. So maybe you didn't take a number one or a number two. You're only looking at it as HD, right? And what did it do here? Kept on going. Does that make any sense? Is anybody confused? Let's look at a few more. Okay. So here we're looking for hidden divergence. Are looking for hidden divergence in either one of these. Are we looking? What do we want for hidden divergence? We want a trend, right? Are we looking at hidden divergence for either one of these here? Because what do we see? The market come down, right? Pull up, come down, pull up, and we're like, oh, is that close on volume? Maybe I need to take that down. What did VAD-E do? It finally flipped, and then it went that way, and then wait. Probably not, right? Does everybody see that, or are you guys like, I don't really see it? What about over here when the market came up, pulled down, came up, pulled down, came up? Look what VAD-E is showing me. It's back and forth. Can you see that? What's another thing to look at? What do you see on VAD-A? Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. What do you see on VAD-E? Back, forth, up, down, transitioning, chop. You see all that in here? You see that? You see how it's going back and forth? If I was looking at our actual chart right here, okay, and I had my drawing tools, what would I probably be drawing right here a box of? Just not even looking at VAD A or E. I'd be drawing a chop box there. That's wavy chop, isn't it? You see how that also told you? You're in chop. We're going back and forth. We're in chop. See that? Okay. So instead of looking at this as a down and up, oh, maybe I'm in a trend, I need to look for HD. You're saying, that's not a clean enough trend for me to be looking for HD. Okay. Green, 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 green. Up, down, up, down, up, down. Are we chopping here? Are we tight chop here? Are we slightly trending or ranging here? Or are we in a trend? We're in a trend. And what is also helping us confirm clearly that we're in a trend? Are there any switches? Are there any reversals? Are there any chop modes or possible transition modes? Cool. So what trade and what trade only am I looking at for ultimate power plays? Exactly. Hidden divergence only is all I'm looking for. Okay, which is a number 3. Rob, the number 4 is a chop. Okay, so power play number 3 is the hidden divergence. Okay, does everybody see that? Once again, I'm not adding a rule, I'm adding a tool. I just thought of that. That's pretty good, huh? Not adding a rule, I'm adding a tool. Okay, makes sense? Now, market comes down, pulls up, comes down, pulls up, down and up. In this box, are we in a clear, strong trend? Are we in a possibly slightly trend but rangy market? And what trades do we want to see in a slightly moving up or rangy? We're looking for power play 1 and 2, right? Again, several of you said that's my biggest question. That's the biggest question in the room of, is it trending or is it not? Is this a number 1 or 2? Right here, for us to take a 3, do we want this to stay the same or to change? To change, right? We want VADI or to stay the same. To take a power play number 3 HD, we want it to stay the same. But when we see it one way and then go another possible way, that could tell us chop if it's choppy. But when the market's making a higher high on lower volume, all those times you're like, well, it made higher highs, but so is that a trend and I can't take a number 1 or 2? Or is it still technically making a higher high but ranging? Look, VADI switched around. It's not a trend. And it's clearly not coiled chop. It's clearly not tight chop because it is slightly making higher highs. So when it makes that higher high on less volume, and I can see that in VADI, do I have an extra confirmation if I'm questioning myself that I, yes, can take a power play number 1 and take it short? Does that make sense, guys? Does that kind of bring it together a little bit? How VAD-E can help you confirm power play 1 and 2s to know, hey, it's technically making a little bit higher highs, or it's technically bouncing, and I can see that confirmation here. I'm looking for a number 1 or 2 setup now. So for all you guys, like let's get a good show of hands here. For all of you that have been confused or had questions and sharing your chart of, should I do a number 1 here? Will that help at all, or does that confuse you more? Tell me now, and we'll go over it some more. Okay, good. Okay. And you might have to watch this video again. You might have to start playing with this, take some screenshots, ask, the leaders in the room, but start watching that. Okay? And it will really help you a lot to see, is it clearly trending and staying one direction? Because if it is, what's the only power play trade to look for? When it's clearly trending, building, staying, only number 3, HD. That's it. Right? Okay? When you see it just back and forth a lot for a long time, and you don't really see it making higher highs, it's not really making lower low, that's chop. Right? Make sense? But when it's like, okay, we were in a trend and then we kind of popped down and now we're just kind of wavy and slightly making a little higher high, and that has flipped, so it's not saying uptrend now just yet. Okay? Or even if it's currently saying uptrend currently, did it flip? Did it flip enough to no longer be in a a trend one way or the other, because it flipped to an uptrend here, and then it went back, and then it went up. So I can say that that's a slightly or ranging, and I'll look for a 1 or 2. Okay? So play with it, add to it, learn it. And once again, VAD-E has been on your chart since what? Day 1. So there's a way to utilize it to help you with power plays 1, 2, and 3. Okay? And you see how in a couple weeks we're going to add on to it a way to pop some extra little trades on it on the same chart. You like? Good stuff? Okay, very cool. That is VAD-E for you. I want to show you one other thing here. I don't have a screen. Oh, we got one more screenshot. What do we got here? Well, same thing here. What are we looking for? We make a higher high on less volume. So you're wondering, ooh, is that a 1 or 2? What is VAD-E doing? HD is possible within this box until it forms a lower low right here, right? Okay. But VAD-E tells us not to be looking for HD anymore right here. Because why? Not only does it break that, but then what did it do? Flipped. Matt says, I'm super glad I joined. This is great stuff. Matt, that's perfect. That's exactly what I want to hear. Because, Matt, I've said this over and over again. Matt, were you part of our open house over the last 30 days here? Okay. Have you been with other trading groups or other companies or trading on your own before this? And I'm not saying they weren't good companies, but if I can't teach you something that you can understand and go and use tomorrow, you're just wasting your time on our webinars, right? I mean, you know, like it's got to be usable. And how many times on my webinars do you hear me say, guys, do you see this? Does this make sense to you, or am I the only one seeing it? How many times you've been on some webinar where there's some salesy guru going on and on about, oh, well, if you'd have just done this and turned your head to the side, you can kind of see this, and hoped you would have saw that. And you're like, yeah, I don't think I'll ever see that. If it's not something that you can see and you have on your chart and you can use, what's the point? You know what I mean? Like, what's the point? It's like with order prints, okay? Yeah, Brian says, I've never experienced order flow like during this open house. Exactly. Like, order prints, remember the very first time you saw order prints, like in the training course, and you saw that chart with numbers and colors and crap all over it, and you're like, oh my God, what? You know, you're like, oh, forget it. I'll never learn this, right? Can any single one of you imagine trading without order prints right now? I don't care if you trade an Apex system or some other system. Can you even imagine trying to trade without order prints? You're trading, I call it, you're trading naked. Like, you know, this is a naked bar. There's nothing on that bar. I don't know what's going on in that bar. But on order prints, I can see exactly what's up in that bar, right? You're trading naked and you're trading blind. We ruined you. We spoiled you. We got you hooked. I mean, you know, after 30 days in open house, I don't see how any of you could possibly imagine trading without order prints or without VAD or oscillation detector. Like, how could you possibly? Even if that's all you were getting out of open house, even if that's all you were getting for your monthly Apex membership. Now, I'm not trying to sound salesy, but even if you weren't getting everything else and the systems and the strategies, if all you were getting was order prints, VAD, and oscillation detector, how could it not be worth it? You know, I mean, how many times have we gone over those charts talking about, okay, you're in this long trend, and what do we see down here on order prints? We see clusters and we see divergent bars. Do you see that in here? You have no way of knowing that on any other bar besides order prints. And you know to what? Tighten up that stop. Instead of giving back 5, 10, 15, 20 ticks, just the amount of times, even if you don't trade an Apex system, even if you trade your own and use order prints, the amount of times that you save giving back that 10 or 15 ticks just in a few trades in 1 day or 2 days pays your monthly Apex membership. I'm sorry, but it does. I mean, it's just kind of ridiculous. And I'm not trying to be salesy. I'm just being real. Like, guys, let's be real. Come on. And so, yeah. So once again, like I've always said from the beginning, taught you certain things in the beginning. We laid the foundation, and all I've been doing ever since is just adding to it, right? More trades, showing you more levels, more indicators, more ways to use it, more ways to, I mean, we're just adding to it. And I just got finished showing you all these other system releases, all these other indicators that we're going to be doing. We're just going to keep going. Now, I don't have a screenshot to show you this one that I am so excited about that it's not even funny. I've wanted this for a long while, and our head programmer, Mr. Benjamin Boyle, is currently working on it as we speak. In fact, hold on just a second here. I want to be able to find an example to show you. You guys are going to flip. You're going to absolutely flip. Okay, maybe this isn't the greatest example, but what do we see on this chart? Market coming up, right? Up, is there uptrend, right? Can you see that? Okay, overall, yeah, there's a little chop in here, but can you see how uptrend, right? Okay, and don't get technical with me here. Just follow through with me. What if this is an uptrend? What do we see right here? Market pulls quite a ways back, but it doesn't break the low, does it? But what did VAD do? Okay, so just go with me here. What is that technically? Anybody tell me? Hidden divergence, right? Got an uptrend, the market pulled back, but it didn't break the last low, but had a lot more VAD. And then what do we have? An up close and a nice move up. Hidden divergence, power play number 3, as an example. Okay, yeah, I know there's some chopping here. Don't get technical with me on the entry. I'm trying to, do you guys see where I'm going with that? Hidden divergence. Anybody disagree about the hidden divergence part? Can you see that? Okay. But where did VAD start to break? Give me a line. Where did VAD, the last VAD, technically get broken? Okay. Right here. Right? From the last VAD, right here, it got broken right here. Does that make sense? At the close of what bar? This bar. Does everybody follow me there? So when that bar closed, this VAD bar appeared, right? Because you don't get a VAD bar until the bar closed. So that bar closed down, VAD closed right there, and technically right there is where your potential hidden divergence happened. Is that correct? What if, just what if, Oh my goodness, hold on. I'm going to show you my Skype. You see this Skype group right here called Hidden Divergence? Okay. Notice what Lori just messaged me, that Ben just got us the first test version. This was in the last few minutes. Remember I told you he's literally working on it right now? I wasn't lying to you. We've been going over it. And she just messaged me that. So, where did the hidden divergence technically start? That bar right there. What if you had an apex indicator that was called early hidden divergence detector or something like that? And what if right then and right there, because that's technically what? Right there, volume broke, price has not broke. What if you had an audio alert that said hidden divergence on NQ or potential hidden divergence on NQ? Where is your entry? At this up close bar, right? With all the rules and, clusters and right? So you don't enter till 1 to 3 ticks above this up close bar, do you? Right? But what if you had an alert right here? Potential hidden divergence on NQ. What does my timestamp say at the bottom? 14:43:59. What does this bar close up? 14:54. 11 minutes before your entry. Now, sometimes it may only be 3 minutes. Sometimes it might be 6 minutes. But do you see it right here, what I'm showing you? How cool is that? Like, how super cool is that? So what do you have? Potential divergence entry. So what are you doing? You're pulling it up, and you're watching it. You're looking at your surroundings. You're looking at levels. You're looking at trend. You're watching order prints, and you're waiting and waiting. And as you see clusters and all that, boom. You want to talk about one of the coolest things ever. Okay? Another question. How many charts could you have open with that indicator and audio alert on it to say potential hidden divergence? You can monitor multiple charts, right? Yeah. With the early detection, and a lot of you even said, I love hidden divergence. Those are the ones I love taking. Those are the ones that give me the nice, good moves, right? And they're already super cool because you have cluster alerts that already tell you and give you a heads up somewhere right here, right? But what if you had it on the bar where it started? Now, sometimes you may not have that many bars between. It might only be one bar. But how totally cool is that? How totally cool is that? Yeah, that's in the works. And that's something I want to release very quickly. And Ben knows that, and I just showed you. They are hard at work on it. So I'm sorry, guys. I'm super excited about that. Super excited about all this stuff I showed you. But that is, excuse my language, freaking killer. That is just killer. Okay? To have that kind of heads up. So are you glad I kind of switched these webinars around and decided just to tell you all this tonight? And like, okay, here's what's in the works. Here's what we're doing. Here's the new systems. Here's what we're revamping. Here's why we're changing this. Here's VAD-E. Here's how you can use it right now to confirm and wipe out a ton of your confusion on power plays 1, 2, and 3. I'm also going to show you in a couple weeks how to use VAD-A and E for extra trade setups. Here's everything being redone. Here's these other systems. And here's something that's being literally worked on right now by the programmers for an early hidden divergence detector. And I showed you some of the cool new things coming out on order prints. Okay? But now let me also back up. If I covered all of this with you and everything that we've covered in the last 3 weeks on all of these webinars, if I made you, remember that long course I made you go through just to get signed up for open house? Imagine if I'd put all of this in there and I put all of those webinars there and all of those advanced trainings there. How many of you would have actually gone through that 5-day course just to get the link? You'd have given up and said, forget it. For one, you wouldn't have been able to do it. For two, yeah, Larry, you'd have been a babbling idiot. You'd have been overwhelmed. Okay? So some of you are probably mad at me because, man, why didn't you tell us all this earlier? Could you have handled all this? I mean, some of this stuff wasn't ready. I mean, this indicator is being worked on, but all this extra stuff, it's just about building. And we had the foundation, and we're building. And that's what we do at Apex, and it never ends. We've been doing it for years, and we keep building, and we keep improving, and we keep going, and we keep growing, and we just keep adding on. And I'm sorry, but there's some super cool crap we've got coming out. Okay? And that HD is one of them, along with everything else that I've showed you tonight that we're working on, along with, you know, being able to help confirm the power plays. And like I said, we're just building. And let me ask you a question. How far has your trading come in the last 30 days? How far have you as a trader come within the last 30 days of open house? Like before open house, did you have any concept whatsoever about how to read the markets the way that you can now and understand levels and understand volume and understand order prints and understand trailing and understand, you know, what to expect from the market and foresee probably happening from the market just in the last 30 days of open house? I'm sure it's just, I mean, some of you might be veterans and you had a great understanding of it, but I know I've talked to so many of you that are like, I never, ever would have thought I could have come this far in 30 days. I would have never thought I could understand how to read the market like this. I mean, guys, and I don't mean this cocky towards Apex or towards our leaders, but there are people that it takes years and years of training and studying to learn to read the markets just as much as you've learned to read them in the last 30 days. Okay? And I literally, everyone ask yourself that question. How far have I come in the last 30 days? And I've already showed you how we've got a ton more coming. How much farther could you get in another 30 days? Now that you've already gotten through the basics, the foundations, you've come so far, you've got such a good grasp, you could probably get many, many times further in the next 30 days. And, you know, guys, I mean, we have had a great open house. We have loved having you here with us. You know, it's been great. You guys have been super involved. Tomorrow's the last day of open house. Free access ends at midnight. And we hope that every single one of you makes the decision to come on board and be a part of the family. We've loved having you here. You know, we've taught you the power plays. We've talked to you about taking the best of the best. I'm not going to sit here and give you a big sales pitch about how right now the elite membership is $200 a month. On the 18th, it's going to go up to $300 a month. Why is that? Well, guys, I'll tell you why. 5 years ago in Apex, there was just 3 people involved in Apex, okay? 3 people on the payroll, 3 people running everything. We have grown 10 times bigger now. We have all these different things, all these different systems. We have, you know, huge infrastructure of the website and the scanners and the elite room. We've got 2 full-time programmers. We've got 2 full-time guys on the back end helping you. You've seen Lori and all the leaders and all the Power Rangers in the room. We have grown so much in the last 5 years. But we honestly haven't raised our prices in the last 5 years. And so I'm not trying to give you a sales pitch. I'm just trying to explain to you just simple business of, you see everything we're doing, you see how we keep growing and how we're bringing on more people and more things to build to be able to give to you. Our expenses go up as well. And that was part of the reason that we did open house, was to give you, before we raise those prices, to give you the chance to try it out absolutely free for 30 days. No credit card, no fee, no nothing. And I told you in the beginning, we're willing to invest all this in you if you'll invest it in you. And we wanted you to be able to get the full spectrum of what is Apex. Let us show it all to you without you having to pay to see it. Okay? And for you to get 30 days of free time to learn and grasp it and get a handle on it without having to pay for that. That way you can decide for yourself, is this worth it? Do I want to get in ahead of time before that price increase and get grandfathered in for life? Okay? And that was the whole point of open house, was to release all this new stuff, give you a chance to see it. Free access ends tomorrow at midnight. Make the most of tomorrow, the last day. Prices go up on the 18th, but get signed up. Get in, locked in at the cheaper rate before it goes up. You also know you want to get in by tomorrow night to get at the top of that list, get into the mentor group. And I don't want to go on and give you a sales pitch about, is Apex worth $200 a month? If you haven't seen it by now, after all this, there's nothing I can say on this webinar to make you think it is. I mean, there's nothing that I can tell you. All I know is all these trades I've shown you, like I said earlier, just order prints by itself without these million other things, confirming those good trades, keeping you out of bad trades, just those extra 10 or 15 ticks, knowing when to trail your stop. It doesn't take but a few of those, and it's paid for it. And it's like I said, can you even imagine now can you even imagine trading without order prints or VAT or any of this stuff? And some of you are already trading live. Some of you are not ready to trade live. You still want to do some training. You still want to be in mentor groups. You want to be in the elite room. You want another 30 days to just explode your trading. Do it, okay? Get signed up as a member. Be part of the team. Invest in yourself. Education is the most important thing. If you're, and I don't mean this rude, but if you're just treating this like a hobby, then you know what? Trading's not for you, guys. If you're not serious about investing in yourself, investing in your education, investing in your future, we've talked about doctors and lawyers and these high-paid professionals, how they spend years and years in college. Or even if you're not going to be a doctor or lawyer and you just spend a regular 4 years in college, you spend 4 years educating yourself. You spend tens of thousands of dollars. $200 a month that's made up within a couple of trades or a couple of early exits. If you're not willing to do that and willing to invest in yourself, maybe you're not that serious about trading. It's okay to spend time investing in yourself, even if you're not already live trading. And we've opened up for 30 days. We've given you all this. You took the first steps and you hopped in and took advantage of it. We've given you everything we can over these next 30 days. And it's kind of to the point now where there's nothing more we can do for you to convince you or tell you to hop on board and be part of the family. All I can do is show you what I did tonight and show you here's what's coming. Here's what's coming down the road. Here's some new releases tonight. Here's some new things coming. This is great stuff. And we can't convince you to be a part of it. Well, we would love to have you be a part of it. Okay? And like I said, we've enjoyed it. We've enjoyed having you with us over these last 30 days. Thank you for being a part of our team, and thank you for being a part of our family. Thank you for a great open house. I'd really like to ask all of you, like I said, tomorrow is the last day of free open house. When you're in that room tomorrow, hop in the elite room and please jump in there and please say thank you to Lori and to Marilyn and to the leaders in the room and to all those guys that are helping you out and all of the Power Rangers. I hope you see how they have just poured their life and heart and soul into you over the last 30 days. Not just on webinars and THTs and in the forum, but answering your questions in there and spending literally night and day. And so please hop in there and say thank you to them. I want to say a personal thank you to all of them, all the leaders in the room, especially the the Power Rangers for jumping in there, and especially the Lori, my right hand, my left hand girl. I can't live without her. I can't even say thank you enough to her for everything she's done for me and for you guys. To our programmers, to Ben and DJ, they've done a great job staying on top of stuff, working on stuff for us now. Tony and Austin in the back end and the ticket, the help desk and the tech, like we couldn't have done it without you guys. Cameron and Sherry with all their help in the forum and with marketing and the graphics and the social media and the articles. You guys have all, like I said before, you've probably all gotten calls from Kelly, who has been just going nuts day and night, weekends, outbound calls to you guys, making sure you have everything you need, making sure you know where to go, setting up, responding to your emails, setting up stuff in the forum, for questions. I could have done this all without, without all these guys. And I just really could not have done it. So thank you for being part of Open House. Please thank all these people tomorrow and tonight in the room. And like I said, we look forward to having you ongoing with us and being a part of the team and getting involved in the mentor room and everything there. Okay, so we really, really do. Gary, you said you're having some trouble with Ninja. Gary, have you talked to the help desk about that? Let's get Austin on with you to log into your computer and get on TeamViewer and have Austin or one of the tech guys get right in. Okay. If you haven't done that, submit a ticket. You can even address it to me in the help desk ticket to make sure it gets to them. But we'll get Austin on your computer and get that fixed. Okay. So Marion says, my best friend is a successful realtor. She pays $2,000 per month for coaching, but not 24/7, only 2 hours per month. Wow, Marion. Wow. Ouch. Yeah. So guys, again, thank you. As we close down Open House here tomorrow, thank you for everything. Get signed up. We want you on board with us. We're super excited about what the future holds. We're super excited about these new strategies and systems. I'm super excited about this hidden divergence indicator and the mentor group. Okay. So like I said, if you're looking at the calendar, this webinar here tomorrow and this one Thursday, I just combined them all here tonight. I just wanted to show you everything tonight. But we will still be running the mentor, membership and mentor kickoff on Friday. So be on that webinar and keep an eye out for any announcements over the next several days to a week here of some possible new releases of the upgraded order prints. And you never know, maybe some hidden divergence. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you so much. We appreciate having you here with us. For those of you that aren't sure, to get signed up, all you got to do is be on the website here and go right here to sign up for Elite membership. Okay, so get signed up before those prices go up, and make sure those mentor spots are going fast. All right, and like I've told you before, how we're going to base it on is first come, first serve. We can only handle 75 to 100 people for that first round, and we've got almost 500 of you in Open House, and it's going to be based on when I pull a list on the 14th of first come, first serve by date and sign up. That's the only fair way to do it. Okay. And if you don't get on that first list, we'll get you in the next round, but get going. All right, guys. Thank you again so much. Have a great night. We will see you tomorrow in the Elite Room. Thank you. I appreciate that, Tommy. Thank you, Matt. Marion, thank you as always. Lau, Randall, Chuck, Eugene, so many of you guys on here. Thank you so much for everything. We'll see you tomorrow in the room. Have a great one.